Friends, hello and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're doing so wonderful. In this week's vlog, I'm going to be reading the lowest rated spooky books on my TBR. So I think all of these are around a 3.2 on Goodreads, which is insanely low. But you know what? I have a taste for unpopular books. I'm hoping to get to 3 books this week. I don't know if that's realistic because this week is going to be absolutely crazy busy for me. So I'm not sure how much time I'm gonna have. I have 3 days of waitressing. I have 1 day of teaching workshops. My best friend is coming from California on Wednesday this week. And so there's just a million things going on and I'm not sure how much time I'm actually going to have to read. So I'm shooting for 3 books, but we might end up only getting through 2. Things that I wanna get to this week, if we can get to everything. The Death of Jane Lawrence, which honestly, I don't know a ton about this. I know it's about this woman. She lives in this kind of gothic mansion with a very suspicious husband who might be turning into a creature. At least I'm pretty sure that's what the plot is about. Sounds like I'm pretty spot on. I don't like to know a lot about spooky horror books going in, so I don't really want to read up a ton on what's going to be happening. I would rather just be surprised at every element I can be surprised about. I know so many people have not liked this, but honestly, I don't understand why, because this pitch sounds perfect. I also really want to get to An Ordinary Violence by Adriana Chartrand. This book is gorgeous and it has I think less than 1,000 ratings on Goodreads as well, but the ratings are so low for this book, insanely low. This book, we're following a girlie. She's moving back to her hometown somewhere in Canada. Her brother has recently got out of prison and he's maybe doing some sketchy stuff with the spirit world, and she's also, I think, getting visions from the spirit world, so creepy stuff going on. Love the cover. Can't wait to get to this one. I got this in my birthday book haul and I've just been staring at it on my shelves waiting for a video plan that I can read this in. So the time has arrived and I'm so excited. This is also very short. This is just over 200 pages. I don't know if this is considered a novella or not. I don't really know what counts as a novella, so I'm not sure. I'm sure I can fit this in this week at some point, if anything, on this TBR gets read. Sorry if you can hear Gigi scratching her scratching post. It's right below where I set you up to film, because this is kind of the cat area over here. So sorry for any inconvenient sound effects in the background. Then we have The Breathless, which is a young adult horror. It's pitched on the back as an absorbing and romantic gothic mystery that will haunt you long after the final page. And as you can tell, I've already started reading this, so as soon as I finish telling you kind of the synopsis for this, I'll tell you my first update. This book is following a family who lives in this super sketchy mansion. There's maybe some magic surrounding the mansion that goes back hundreds of years. One of the sisters in this family has died and her boyfriend has no memories of the night, so we're also, I think, kind of getting a POV from him. Well, I know because I started reading it that we're getting a POV from him. And her younger sister is trying to figure out the mysteries, figure out what happened to her. Was she murdered? Was something horrific going on? Was something supernatural going on? I have had this book on my shelf for so insanely long, y'all don't even understand. So we are transitioning now into the first update of this video. I've been reading this throughout the day and I'm really liking this so far. I will say I don't feel a strong urge to pick this back up. When I stop reading, it's hard for me to want to start reading this again. But once I'm reading it, I'm totally enthralled in the plot. So I'm not sure what that's about. It might just be the stress of life and has nothing to do with this book. I love May as a character. May is the younger sister that's investigating the older sister Rose's death. She kind of thinks, and I guess the whole family kind of thinks, that the boyfriend is somehow responsible because she died and he went missing, but now he's kind of reappeared and she's questioning I don't actually think he did have anything to do with this. And then we're also getting flashback chapters from mid 1800s where we're reading about kind of witchy encounters in the forest that the family of this mansion was having with other people that lived in the surrounding woods, and the vibes are immaculate. There is no romance yet at page 100. I don't know if the romance is going to come in the form of Ro and her boyfriend Cage before she died, or if that's going to come with May and another character that we don't really know yet. So I'm not sure what to expect on that front. May has found this little book that's very mysterious, and her grandfather, who's had a stroke, he can't speak, is very panicked when he sees that she has this book, but he can't even get out his thoughts to explain to her. So she promises him that she'll put it away and she won't touch it, but then obviously she doesn't do that because she wants to find out what happens to her sister. Vibes are super great. The setting is super great. I'm enjoying the flashback chapters, although 100 pages in, we've only had 2 of them, so I don't know if those are going to increase kind of as we put the pieces together. But the book is like a common thing that's running through, like the little notebook or the spell book or whatever it is a common theme that's like running through these different timelines. So I'm sure that's gonna come into play and be like the center of our magic. The house itself, spooky. The forest surrounding the house, spooky. This is giving all the vibes. So at this point in time, I don't understand why they're rating so low, but time will tell. So I'll update you guys when I finish this and we can talk about my full thoughts. I don't think I'm gonna update you guys anymore tonight because I am leaving to go to a work meeting in like actually right now pretty much. So that's I think gonna take probably about 2 hours. And so I'm going to restrain from reading tonight. If I do, I won't update you till the morning either way. So I'll see you when I see ya. Hi guys. I just got back from the lake with friends. That was a great day. That was a great way to spend my time today. So much fun. Had the time of my life. It was so hot out today. I spent the entire day in the water, like just thriving. Cannot say that this had the same vibes as my amazing lake day. I'm quite disappointed. This started out so strong. I was telling you guys in the last clip like how much I was loving the vibes and like loving the atmosphere and the setup. And then shortly thereafter, the last time we talked, I would say around page like 175, this didn't know what it wanted to do. There's supposedly romance in this. I don't know where it was. I don't think it existed. I don't think there was any romance in this. If there was, I missed it. There was this like guy that was obsessed with and like kind of stalking Ro, who's the sister that died. And then there's Cage, who like we get his perspective sometimes in here, but it's like told from third person, but like focusing on him instead of May. It's kind of confusing. This book changes tenses a lot, which is something else that I hated, but we'll get to that in a second. And Cage, I guess, was like in love with Ro, but I don't really know. Like the back literally says an absorbing and romantic gothic mystery. There's nothing absorbing or romantic or mysterious about this. Like it wasn't a mystery, it wasn't gothic, it didn't have romance. Like did that person that wrote this blurb and I read the same book? I don't think we did. As I already mentioned, I had like some actual structural issues with the way that this was written and edited and told. Changes tenses randomly all the time for like no reason. It doesn't add anything to the story. There's like in the beginning, like a collective narrative. It's like, we know that blah, 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 blah at the end of a lot of chapters. And then that sort of just falls out and doesn't ever appear in here again. And then there's like switching back and forth between present and past tense. And like, I have never been so confused reading a book. And the thing is, I don't mind being confused reading a horror book. Like horror books are supposed to confuse you. They're supposed to be vague and mysterious, and you're not supposed to know what's going on until the end when everything is sort of wrapped up for you. So I don't mind being confused. But this genuinely, I just think that the author had a picture in her mind and she was like writing down what she was seeing, but she wasn't writing down enough details for us to understand what she was seeing in her head for these characters, because on page it didn't make sense. And it wasn't because we were being vague and mysterious, it was because she wasn't writing descriptively enough for me to understand what was going on. And I would say that honestly, the like magical horror, witchy resurrection vibes kind of just get abandoned in this in the middle for like 100 pages and then just randomly brought back into the story. And I don't know. I'm giving this 2 stars. I am so disappointed too because it started out so strong and then it ended so poorly. And also, I haven't actually talked to you in 3 days. Let me put this into perspective for you. I traditionally read a 350-page adult book in 24 hours. I usually start it at night and then I finish it the next day. This took me 4 days to read, 350 pages, young adult. Just to put things in perspective for you, I read like 2 pages a minute in young adult books with text this size. Let's do some math. This should have taken me no longer than 4 hours to read, but I was so disinterested in what was going on that I think I probably have spent 10 hours reading this book over the last 4 days, which is insane. Not the best way to start out the video. Hi, I'm 50% of the way into this. You guys, I was just at a friend's house and I was sitting outside on the patio and I was trying to film an update, but they have like a walking path behind their house, and this like group of old people was like walking on the walking path and it made me so uncomfortable, so I had to stop the update and wait until I got home. Take 2, I guess. I don't like this book. I like the plot of this book. It's very interesting and I like the dynamics of this book, but the writing in this book is so bad that I can't get into the story and I can't enjoy it, because every time I'm interested in a plot line, interested in a scene, interested in a character, the writing focuses on all the wrong details and it has a narrative style like I had when I was in 8th grade. I had to write a short story in 8th grade and it had to be like very heavily imagery focused, and this is, I would say, about equal with the quality of my writing when I was 13 years old. So that's saying a lot, because I'm not a writer, or I journal, but like I don't write things, you know what I mean? Let me tell you the big issue, okay? The big, huge issue is that this doesn't focus at all on development of the characters, development of the plot. It's like that's an afterthought to all of the imagery that the author is putting in the story, and she's not doing it in a good way. She's doing it in a way that is very juvenile feeling. Not that the story is reading like YA, but the actual like sentence structure, similes, analogies, etc. that she's using in here feel immature. It feels like she doesn't know what she's doing. And I was reading her little biography in the back here. By the way, she's so pretty, but she's like a film student, she works in film. And so I can see that this is maybe how her mind is working, right? She wants to set up the scene very vividly for us, but that's not doing anything for the actual story that the book is trying to tell. And I feel like the good parts of this book are getting lost under these very mundane, skippable, basic writing and descriptions, and I can't stand it. It's taking me out of the story, and it's such a shame because this cover is so stunning and I was expecting the writing to at least be beautiful if the story wasn't up to par, and honestly it's not. It's quite terrible. So I am gonna finish it because this is short, but I can't imagine this getting more than a 2-star from me. And then as far as the plot goes, it's like I said, on a back burner compared to all of these unnecessary descriptions. So honestly, not a lot has happened because we've been focusing more on describing her like gym bag than we have on who our main girlie is as a person. Dawn's our main character, right? Her brother Cody has just gotten out of prison. She's moved home with her dad, kind of against her will. We don't really know why. We're reading from her perspective, figuring that out, learning about the past couple years of her life. She's also kind of being, I don't want to say haunted by, but she's connecting with her mother's spirit. She's having these kind of amnesia spells where, you know, she'll be like contacted by her mother, or she'll feel like she's about to interact with the spirit world in some way, and then like at a large amount of time has passed, she's in a location she doesn't remember being in, whatever. And like, that is so interesting, but we're not even talking about that. We're just describing random things that no one cares about. And I feel like I'm getting repetitive now, so I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna finish this. I'll talk to you later. I don't know if I'm gonna finish this today. I'm feeling so exhausted today. I stayed up far too late last night, like so late for me, and this is just taking me like so long to get through, even though I'm skimming like large portions of the pages, and I'm struggling, but maybe the second half of the book things are gonna pick up, things are gonna happen, we're gonna stop talking about random details. I don't know, it could totally turn itself around. I'm not giving up hope, but anyway, I'll chat with you later today about final thoughts on this. Hello, same day, outfit change though. I am honestly just feeling disoriented. Like, Dawn was so disoriented for like this entire book, and we were just reading about how disoriented she was, and like what the sidewalk looked like, and what the sky looked like, and what the snow looked like, and what the rabbit looked like, and like I feel disoriented from how disoriented Dawn was. And because Dawn doesn't know what's going on, I also subsequently did not know what was going on. So I wish that I had better news for you, but I think this is a 2-star, although I'm not even rating it on Goodreads because I genuinely don't know how to feel. I think this book did what it was trying to do, but it did it in a way that I didn't enjoy reading from. And I feel like it focused on all of the wrong things for this to be a good book for me, if that makes sense. I did not connect to any of the characters in here, could not care less about what happened to any single person in here. I will say, the last like 40 pages popped off so hard. They were so good. This could have thrived as a short story. This could have been a 5-star short story had it been a short story, but there was like 200 pages of needless descriptions, Dawn not knowing what was going on, and I just like felt like the other characters were kind of irrelevant. Like, honestly, this wasn't scary. This was weird, but like not in like a good weird sense, not like in I'm Thinking of Ending Things, which is also very similar, a very disorienting story, but the atmosphere is so much better in there. And like, you don't know what's going on in that one either, but you feel like that's how you're supposed to feel reading it. Whereas in this one, I felt like I was just missing something. Like, I felt like I should have understood what was going on. And I'm also a little bit sad because this author is native to one of the tribes in Canada. I'm not sure because I don't live in Canada, so I just don't know what's going on up there. So I was expecting this to be maybe a little bit more reflective of like cultural heritage, or, you know, like have some native tie-ins, and it didn't. So I genuinely just don't know what this was trying to be, although I think it was what it was trying to be, if that makes sense. And I don't think that it was unsettling enough or scary enough to be horror, be classified primarily as horror. This was almost just like a fever dream of a book that made you feel like you were also having a fever dream while you were reading it, because I just had no clue what was going on for like 95% of this. And there was also not like a resolution at the ending that helps you come to understand everything. And I think that's the big difference. Again, I feel weird kind of comparing this to I'm Thinking of Ending Things, but that's kind of the only book that I've ever read that I think I could compare to this, because of how like disoriented that writing is as well, and you don't really understand where it's going, you don't know what's going on. This felt like that, but that book has a resolution at the end where everything sort of like suddenly makes sense for you, and then you immediately want to reread it because now that you understand what's going on, like you want to re-experience the story. This was not that, because there was no answers, no resolution. So anyway, I'm gonna be done with this now, and I'm gonna move on to The Death of Jane Lawrence, which I'm a little bit nervous about, but I think it's gonna be more successful than this. I don't have a reading update per se, but I have been making some pretty incredible progress in my fairy tale collection this week. And I just wanted to share that with you because I know that I've talked about that a lot in different videos, and then I feel like I never actually really provide an update on it. And this obviously is like a spooky fairy tale collection, so I feel like it kind of fits the theme of this video. And so I think I've read like over 30 short stories in the past week. I've only been filming this video for 3 days, but I found some stories in here that I didn't even really realize, I guess, were Grimm's fairy tales, and so I'm finding that really interesting. One thing that I wanted to point out was I don't know if this was like a Grimm's original fairy tale or if they adapted it from other stories. There's an index in the back that kind of informs me on that, but I don't know. It's kind of hard for me to understand how the index is organized. The Grimm brothers wrote a fairy tale called The Six Swans or something of that like. And if you've read Six Crimson Cranes, it is that story. Like, that's what that story is based off of. But I was under the impression that that was like an Asian fairy tale type of story. So I don't know if that actually was originally a Grimm's fairy tale or if that originated and they like adapted it into their own story. If you know the answer to this question, let me know in the comments, because I'm genuinely curious and I really didn't realize that that was one of their bodies of work, even if they had adapted it. So let me know if you know the answer to that. I don't actually have an update on any of the books that I'm reading for this video though. What I will say is I honestly didn't really read anything today other than my fairy tales because I am applying to a program to get my Associates of Applied Science this fall. I do already have a bachelor's that covers a lot of the credits that I need. So realistically, this is normally like a 15 to 18 month program for people. It's going to take me, I think, 9 months to finish, and that's if I go slowly and I don't double up or add any extra credits to each quarter that I am pursuing. So I've been applying to that program, and can I just say, I forgot how incredibly stressful it is to apply for school. And the Office of Admissions at the department that I'm applying to has been like so helpful. I've been talking to them on and off all week, and like I've had so many questions for them, and I feel like I'm being really annoying. But like the first time that I applied to school, I was living at home. I was in high school, right? So I had like all of these teachers and all these resources and people to help me. And now I don't have any of that. And I like have no idea what I'm doing. And I just have been so stressed out. So I'm not actually accepted into the program yet. I just submitted my application today. Odds are like 99.99999% that I will get accepted. So I'm not really concerned about that, but just turning in all of the documentation and stuff that I need to submit for school is like giving me more anxiety than I've had probably in my entire life, because I just don't want to mess it up and I just feel like I'm doing it wrong. So I haven't really been able to focus on reading, and honestly that's taken me like so many hours of my evening tonight, like way more than I thought it would. Initially getting my like transcripts and stuff transferred over was fairly easy, but then there's like some other stuff that I need to get transferred and I don't even know like where to begin with that. So I've been having a hard time. But I think I've gotten everything submitted that I possibly can get submitted as of right now without like requesting from other people and waiting for them to get back to me and send me the appropriate documentation. So I'll keep you posted during this week on that process, because that's like a very big thing in my life right now, obviously. And also on another note, I'm sorry, this vlog just turned into me like complaining about all of the things that ail me in my life. But on another note, now that I have this full-time job set up and it's starting on August 1st, I can't stand waitressing, okay? It was like not bad when I went back, and I work with all my friends and that's great and awesome and wonderful. But now that I know that I have this like really great job that's gonna have really good pay, really good hours, nice flexibility, I'm gonna have my own office, like I'm so excited to go to that. And since I know that that's coming, I don't want to go to work. Like I just want to quit and walk out, because even though I don't hate the people I work with, I genuinely do dislike the work that I do. Like customer service is not for me. That was random. That went totally on a tangent, but thanks for listening. I'll check in with you next when I have a for real update. Hey cutie pies, it's been a minute since we've last talked, but this is going so well for me. I am having so much fun with this. I have read, what is that? Unknown stain on the cover, whatever. I've read the first 120 pages of this and I am like obsessed with this so far. Like, there's still lots of room for error. This book, I think, is like 380 pages long, so there's still lots of room for error. But as of right now, I am not understanding whatsoever at all why people don't like this, because I love this. It's kind of slow, it's kind of boring, it's kind of repetitive, but it's so haunting, and like the gothic atmosphere is one of the best I've ever read. There's just enough going on to like keep me interested and invested, and I am just loving the vibes. Pause, because I don't know if I actually told you the plot of this in the intro. Basically, we're following Jane, and Jane needs to get married, so she kind of seeks out this doctor guy and is like, you and me are gonna be married. You don't have a spouse. I need a spouse. We're like the same age. I can help you with your bookkeeping, and I can be a nurse in your hospital. And he's like, you know, it might take some convincing. Like, you got to prove to me that you can work in my hospital, but if you can, we can be married. The family that she's staying with is moving away, and her expenses don't allow her, with the amount of income that she's receiving, to move with them. She feels like she would be a burden to them, so she wants to stay in the area. Seems like the perfect match. She's strictly seeking him out in like a business arrangement. She's like, I need to be married because I can't be like single living on my own. I don't make enough money to do that. And also she's living in a time when that's not really a vibe. And so they both kind of end up agreeing to this as a business arrangement, but Jane is like developing kind of like a lust for him, which is so fun. And then there's just so many like oddities. He lives in this like really weird house, which I think we've already talked about. She's not supposed to go there at night, but she does end up going there one night. I'm not going to go into any of those details just because that's spoiler territory. This house is like super spooky, super creepy. His past is like a little bit creepy. She's finding out as she gets like more enthralled in his life. Mysterious vibes are just absolutely immaculate. So I have completely stayed away from reading like actual Goodreads reviews of this. I don't want to be spoiled for anything. But I'm loving this so far, and I just wanted to check in and share that with you. So I have no plans tonight other than to read this, and I'm gonna update you guys as I go. This is actually editing me here because I lost the footage of this clip that I know that I took, but I don't know where it went. And honestly, this like wrap up section of the video is not going to be as thorough as it once was because I actually finished this book like 3 weeks ago. I'm just that far behind on editing and posting and doing all of the things. So I'll do my best, but in no way is this going to be as detailed as it was the first time that I took it. I gave this 4.5 stars. I really liked this book. It could have been 5 stars, honestly, except there was a section toward the end, like when we were leading up to the conclusion, like not the conclusion, but like those pages after the middle section leading up to the end, that just felt a little bit tedious. And the writing in this book is absolutely stunning, like some of the best gothic horror writing that I have ever read. And so I wasn't necessarily not having a good time, it's just that the actual plot development in those 50 pages leading towards the end was a little bit boring for me. So it's getting 4.5 instead of a 5 because it wasn't perfect. I do get now why people maybe don't like this, why it has a low rating. I understand, because there are a lot of elements that start happening in the plot, and I guess for some people that can feel overwhelming because we don't go into a ton of detail on any of those one elements, and it does seem, I guess, a little bit chaotic at times, but it absolutely worked for me. I thought it helped progress the story greatly, and maybe it didn't have the best cohesion that it possibly could have, but I think in horror that's okay. Like, the story doesn't have to be 100% logical, 100% cohesive in order to be successful. And again, I am like absolutely obsessed with the writing in this book. I want to go through and annotate this. I swear I'd highlight half the book just based off of sentences that I thought were gorgeous, beautiful, stunning writing, because it really is, like, I know I keep driving this home, but it really is like some of the best writing I've ever read in a horror book, and I had a feeling that this was gonna be like the winner of the vlog, so I'm so glad to have read this. This is one of the best horror books I've read so far this year, and I'm so happy that I finally got to it, and I'm also happy that we kind of have this like fall vibe to my reading that's starting. I just like don't do like summer reading. I feel like that's largely like lit fit contemporary romances, and I just don't read a ton of those genres. So I'm sure when I initially formed this clip, it was way longer, it went way more in depth. I would just say that if you tend to love books regardless of plot and you care more about the writing, I feel like you could love this. If you care more about like a sensical plot, this is not for you. I know it's early, I know it's August, but let me know your fall reading plans because I feel like a lot of us get really excited. It's like back to school season already. Like, let me know what we're reading this fall. What is top priority on all of our TBRs? I genuinely want to know. And I'll see you guys in another video soon. I can't make my heart because I'm holding a cat, but we'll say bye!